Economic nodes, they are awesome. I absolutely love economic nodes and what the developers have decided to do with them. I really want to spawn in on an economic node when I come into the game, and to be honest, if my node doesn't develop into an economic node, I would probably be willing to waste the time it would take just traversing across the land of Vera so that I could end up as a citizen of an economic node, because they are just so cool. So let's go over every single thing you need to know about the economic node. First of all, let's go over the unique building. Each node has a unique building. This unlocks at level 3, which is the village stage of the node's development. In the economic node type, this unique building is a building of trade and commerce, which means that players from within your node and from other nodes will go there to trade and unlock quests and things like that. So at level 3, this unique building is the market. This serves as a center for the transaction of goods and services within the area. Players can use the market to access features including, but not limited to, some of the following. There will be an auction house where raw resources and processed goods may be posted. This means that you could go out gathering or crafting or whatever your profession is. You can go post it in the auction house, different players will bid on it, and of course the winning player will get your item. There will be trade hauling stables for tier 1 mule training. This will be for caravans. I'm guessing that better mules will probably have like an increased speed and will be able to carry heavier weights and have higher health in case they get attacked and various things like that. The third aspect is that there will be player shop areas for personal shop deployment and rental stalls. This is different from the auction house because this is when you don't want players bidding on your items. You want items up for sale that are at a fixed price, that's what they cost. If people don't like it, they don't have to buy it, but at least you know you're getting a very specific price for the good you're selling. The next one is private property sale certificates. Now, I'm not quite sure how this is going to work because I'm pretty sure you can sell your properties in any node. It's possible you have to go to a market in an economic node in order to obtain a private property sale, even if you are a citizen of a different node. Or it's possible that the private property sale certificates just make it easier to sell your house. And the final aspect is the Hunter's Post. This is currently for tier 1 creatures bounties, and it's essentially a quest station. You can go get a creature's bounty, go kill that creature, bring it back to the area, and you'll be rewarded with money. Now at level 4, which is the town stage of a node's development, this levels up into the exchange. In addition to the previous abilities that the market offered, the exchange adds additional services including, but not limited to, a trade emissary. This is established by node diplomacy and offers exchange interface with citizens of foreign nodes. Again, this is a little bit confusing because the developers haven't expanded on this a huge amount. It's possible that every single node will have its own currency. More likely, each race will have its own currency, and these must be traded with each other in order to have the currency that you want to go buy items. It is also possible that vendors will then be able to choose what currency they accept. You could decide, I'll accept all currencies from any race, and then you go to a trade emissary and you turn it all into the currency you want. Or it's possible that a player will go to an area, they'll go to the trade emissary, get a small amount of money and go buy a specific good with that. The next effect is the expanded auction house, and this just means more goods and items can be posted there. After that we have tier 1 work orders. Now this means that a node's government can place a work order and players can decide to fill it. This could be for base materials such as lumber, stone, it could be for armor, for weapons, for siege weaponry, and it's possible it may actually even be for things like construction. After that you have tier 1 caravan cargo bay upgrade certificates, which will upgrade the physical caravan when you send it off, probably giving it extra armor, increased speed, just like with the mule, and probably can hold more items as well. After that we have information on average sale prices for auction sales within the region. So this means if you go to an economic node and you're going to the auction house, the bidding that is going on there doesn't have to be the bidding that you get involved with. If you go and say you want to buy a piece of legendary armor and it's going for 1,000 or 2,000 gold or whatever the currency is, you could check the average sale price for that legendary piece of armor on the entire region, and if it's selling for less somewhere else, you could decide to go there and buy and bid on it instead. Or it's possible that the node is currently undervaluing this item and you want to bid very quickly in order to get it, and you could go sell it on somewhere else. After this, we have a map of active trade missions and requests from the world node map. That's huge. It means you know all the missions that are going on in terms of trade everywhere in the world. This could also be misused potentially by bandits who find out where trade missions are going on and they could decide to go raid this area. After this, we have the Exotic Hunter's Store. This is essentially the same bounty shop we had from tier 1, but it means that you will have higher bounties for more difficult creatures and you can go make more money from it. And after this, we have a tier 1 business's license. Now, I'm not exactly sure how this differs from a small shop you set up. My guess is that it's in a building, and I'm not exactly sure how that would work. It's possible that this is to do with freeholds, that if you want to change your freehold from just a living area outside of the node to an actual business outside of a node, you have to have a business license. Or it's possible that some of the buildings inside a node could be changed between houses and businesses, or potentially there will be houses for sale and businesses for sale and you can't change one from the other. But either way, if you're looking to become a businessman in Ashes of Creation, you'll be able to do that through the economic node by getting a tier 1 business license. This then upgrades to the Galleria at the level 5 stage, which is the city stage of a node's development. In addition to the previous abilities that the market and exchange offered, the Galleria adds additional services including, but not limited to, tier 2 businesses licenses, which again, we were completely speculating on what businesses licenses even were, and that's hard to say. Businesses licenses, what they even were. So my guess is that the tier 2 means you could list more items or have a bigger shop or whatever it is. The next thing is a map with information on current exchange rates for resource-based trade routes. Again, with the idea that there's going to be different currencies. I'm not exactly sure how many different currencies there'll be, but this will also be very interesting if you're a trader, you're a caravaneer. You're going to want to know which is the most profitable exchange rate for you to send your caravans on. After this, we have tier 2 work orders. Essentially, these are just like the work orders that the government could issue before, but they'll probably be way bigger. As well as this, tier 2 work orders can also be initiated by citizens. So if a specific citizen wanted a large amount of products, they could initiate a work order. This is going to be very interesting for guilds. If there's guild wars and things like that, it means they can post a work order to get a large amount of resources for said guild war. It'll also be very interesting for large raids. If a guild is planning on taking on like a big boss level creature, they're going to want to set a work order for like loads of legendary armor or stuff like that. And it can also be fulfilled by citizens and non-citizens, which is key because it means someone from outside of the node, from a different territory, can come in and fulfill this work order. It's not just limited to the people within that node. So it means that work orders are going to become way more profitable and way more widely used because there'll be more people setting them and more people completing them. The next effect is a tier 2 caravan cargo bay upgrade certificates. Essentially, it will be everything I've listed from the first tier, but I'm guessing all of those effects will be increased. The next effect will be trade hauling stables for tier 2 mule training. Just like with the tier 2 caravan, it will just be further upgrades. After that, we have a trade embassy, which offers expanded work order access to diplomatic friendly nodes. This is very interesting. It means that just like how we said before that with the work orders, they could be completed by citizens or non-citizens and could be initiated by citizens or nodes. This means that a separate government could fulfill the work order of the government setting it. So during times of war, things like that, governments can actually help each other out. It doesn't have to be private individuals or guilds that are looking to support people. After this, we have Royal Hunter Lodge tier 3 creature bounties. So again, just means there'll be higher bounties, even more difficult creatures, even more gold, loot and experience you can get from these quests. After this, we have inventory expansion and weight management training certificates. This is awesome. I don't know how else to say it. It basically just means you can carry way more stuff and you can carry way heavier stuff. So if you're a trader or if you're looting or adventuring, it's going to be useful no matter what you're doing in Ashes of Creation. If you're in a dungeon, it means you can grab way more loot. If you're a trader, it means you can carry way more goods on you. If you're a crafter, you can go out and get way more raw ingredients to take back to your house. Like, it's useful for everyone. And finally, the Emporium, which is what this will turn into at the level 6 stage of a node, which is the Metropolis stage. In addition to the previous abilities that are offered, the Emporium adds a considerable amount of additional services, including, but not limited to, worldwide sale prices for the auction houses across Vera. Again, really awesome. It basically means you can see the prices of a good across the entire world, so you know where to get the cheapest good possible, and you also know where that's going to sell for most. This essentially means that you don't actually have to produce or make anything in order to get rich in Vera if you're clever enough. You can buy from one person, sell to another. You didn't make the item, you haven't done anything to the item, you're just buying cheap, selling dear. It's business 101. After this, we have tier 3 business licenses. Your businesses will get even bigger. Maybe you can make more profit. There might even be things like a haggling aspect to it, I don't know, but yeah, they will get upgraded. You'll have trade skill mastery qualifications. If I had to guess at what this is, I'm guessing it's for trading with NPCs. If you've got a trade skill mastery, it will mean you'll be able to buy items far cheaper, and potentially it will mean that you'll be able to have access to items for sale that other players don't have. It was specified during a developer interview that if you wash yourself regularly, certain NPCs will like that, and they'll like the fact that you don't smell, and so they'll offer you an expanded range of items in their shop. So that's possibly an aspect of the trade skill, but either way, you can get this qualification and you'll become way better at trade. After this, you will get player shop certificates. Now, these are amazing. It means that players can deploy a shop outside of designated player shop areas. Now, this means you could set up a shop potentially in the wilderness, at any point in the city where it could be particularly useful, or potentially even means that you could get a player shop certificate and set it up in a different node that you're not even a citizen of, which would be pretty cool. And yes, I'm aware of how much of a nerd I'm sounding like right now, but I love this game. I don't care. I know we're all nerding out about it. That's why you're here. That's why you clicked on this video. We're all nerds together. After this, we have tier 3 caravan cargo bay upgrade certificates and trade hauling stables for tier 3 mule training. Really not a lot to go over there. Again, you're just going to be upgrading your caravan and your mule with increased speed, health, and how much items they can take. After this, we have tier 3 work orders. So work orders can be bigger and they can charge more and things like that. Also, these work orders can be initiated by non-citizens. So someone from a separate node can come in to an economic node at tier 6 and they can initiate a work order. And then finally, you have the legendary hunter lodge for, you guessed it, legendary bounty. So even more money, experience, and loot from the quest. And that isn't even everything the unique building can do. The developer team have specifically said that they don't want to give away all aspects of the unique building and would rather leave us to discover it. So if the unique building deck economic node can do even more than that, it's going to take ages to figure it out, and I'm going to love sinking my teeth into it. The next aspect a economic node is auctioneers for vassal nodes. Now, a vassal node is all the nodes surrounding the highest level node. So if the economic node is the highest leveled node compared to all the nodes touching it, they are all vassals of the economic node and cannot rise to a level higher than the economic node unless they go to war with them. So this means that all vassals that are bordering an economic node, there will be an auctioneer NPC that appears in those vassal nodes. The auctioneer allows players in those vassal nodes to list non-resourced or processed materials in the parent node's auction house. This basically means that these items are limited to weapons, armor, and loot. You can't sell base materials and you can't sell midway materials. You can only sell final items. However, the players in the vassal nodes cannot bid on items from the auctioneer. They can only place them, and the resources and processed materials must be in the economic node. You might think that's not actually that helpful, but what it means is that they can send a caravan off to the economic node with the resources in them, and then they can list these items with the auctioneer in their own node without ever having to travel to the economic node themselves. So they don't have to travel, they can go around doing whatever they want, whether that's adventuring or just hanging out and chilling, and their items will automatically go towards that node. They can go list them with the auctioneer, and they will then be listed in the auction house in that node. So it massively reduces the amount of work needed to sell your goods. Finally, let's move on to the node's superpower. Now, the superpower of an economic node is the linked economy, and this is so powerful that I do not even know what to say. Any economic node with this superpower unlocks a shared auction house listing with all other economic nodes. This means that all of the items are in one linked economy, and any economy node that is linked to it can be bid on items from any other economy node. Might be a bit confusing, I'll just explain what I mean. So for example, let's say one node has a mithril mine next to it, and they're mining all this mithril, and everyone has to travel to them in order to get the mithril, or they have to send out caravans. Now, every single economic node in the entire world, wherever they are, can buy this mithril on demand immediately, have it essentially teleport into their city. Now, this means that the price of mithril might be driven up because there's now a way higher demand for it, but it also means that all the economic nodes now become way more powerful, because they have the ability to get the specialized goods from all the other economic nodes when other types of nodes can't. A scientific node, or let's say a military node, might have a way bigger army, but they're not going to be able to get resources on demand instantly whenever they need them, so they'll be at a massive disadvantage to the economy nodes linked to this one world economy specifically for them. Anyway, I hope it was informative. I hope you liked the video. If this does well, I'm going to do a second video explaining everything you need to know about the scientific node. Bear in mind, that doesn't take a lot. Well, for me, is not a lot of views. I just need a few of them in order to have the motivation to create another one. Anyway, have an amazing day, and thank you for watching.